For me, it's also like conflict, where you cannot make it invisible. You cannot do as if it doesn't exist. The power imbalances, it can exist inside of your own group, of your own collective, but we can feel it, of course, in a more external, more global kind of way of perceiving power.
There are some authoritarian, some oppressive types of power that dictate the way you do work, and it could emerge from probably from some harmful social norms, from some practices, malpractices in the community. However, I also came to know that there are some invisible powers that can be positive, that can help you to build the power within. Sometimes a smile in an audience when you are speaking is this type of invisible power that gives you strength and gives you support.
When we work in communities and we try to make change happen, power is an essential ingredient. It's precious for us. Speaking about the state of emergency GBV movement, at some point we realized that the state houses of assembly weren't latching on to our advocacy campaign quick enough. And so we decided to send handwritten letters to each of the members of the state houses of assembly. And so what we did was we created a network of civil society organizations in all of these states, and we gave them a little bit of money to be able to hand deliver the letters to the legislators in the states. What this did for us was it put the power into the hands of the local organizations in these states, as opposed to stretching ourselves as the organization in Abuja trying to achieve change. And so for us, ensuring that we keep power situated locally as much as possible and decentralizing it is really critical.
I'll think about what relational power do I have to build public support and to bring people along with me. The relational power that I might have with people who can actually participate in the campaign as an ally or bring something useful to the campaign as well.
In our work, we have to think about power pretty multidimensionally. As our organizers are building campaign, we think pretty explicitly in one dimension. Are we building power with or are we building power over? Power with may be something that our communities have the existing resources to make the change that we need to make.
I think about the power around me and the people with power to make change happen. Whilst I don't have control over those certain individuals, I do have the power to influence them. So then I'm thinking about, okay, well, what interests them? What is important to them, and how can I tap into that?
Power over, where we often are, is when there's an external decision maker that we need to be exerting influence over to push them to make a decision. We have to be really, really clear that our communities are the source of our power, that we have to be very actively working to build and increase the leadership and power of our communities over time.
For change to happen, we need to think about ways we can build power that can delegitimize and dismantle the systems of oppression that has led us into the climate crisis today. I always ask myself, who has the power? And in the context of the fossil fuel industry, for instance, fossil fuel companies have built power over knowledge we access on climate by sponsoring multiple mainstream climate newsletters, news series, and they have also bankrolled think tanks. As we move towards just transition, it is important to reckon with the power systems that have brought us into the climate crisis in the first place.
There is indeed some kind of power within, which is how I see myself and how I see my agency. It didn't start like this initially. It had to grow through education, learning, exposure to different difficult situations, having difficult experiences in my life.
I don't look at power as something I get from one source only. Being in a position of power gives me power, but also having the knowledge and expertise and connections and networks and all of these gives me another type of power.
My feminist friends and colleagues, my sisters initially, my mother and other people who supported me all the way, and my father and husband who were the only men who stood beside me at the beginning of my life.
Sometimes inner strength for the work that I do can be found in a really good cry. When I feel frustrated, when I feel like things are not working, when I feel like we are not making progress as quickly as we should make it. But I think that as an advocate, it's important to have some sort of higher power that you draw from, regardless of who or what you worship. Just some place where you can be still, where you can meditate, where you can be spiritual, to derive some strength for the tasks and journeys ahead.
I was always driven by the willingness to change and to stand up to certain difficult situations and change them within my small town, but also in my country.